Expected to be okay after falling into a sinkhole in Montfort, but it didn't come without a terrifying experience. Our Jamie Perez shows us what this man went through, and it's not what you would expect.
When we first heard about this sinkhole, we were probably thinking the same thing that all of you watching at home were thinking. The sinkhole is huge. This guy got trapped inside, right? But when we got here, this is all that we saw. But don't let that small opening fool you.
It just went through.
This is a story Brandon Post is going to tell for a long time.
All I could see was a black hole that went down.
Brandon was working outside when the earth collapsed beneath his feet.
And I just started screaming, somebody help me. Somebody help me. It was the only thing that I could do was to scream and hope and pray that somebody would eventually hear me.
With no cell phone and no one around, his neighbor eventually heard him and tried to help.
I found a log chain, like a 20-foot log chain, wrapped it around one leg and up over my neck and hooked the rope to it all while I'm trying to stand in there.
Bracing himself, legs shaking, seeing the endless black hole beneath him, he waited for first responders to come save him. A couple minutes, but to Brandon, it felt like hours.
Stuff was still falling on me, and it was just, I couldn't move because I was afraid everything would just collapse and I'd go down even further.
He couldn't believe it.
Really, I'm in a hole. I was at a loss for words.
I mean, what would you be thinking about if this happened to you?
The only thing I could think of is that I was going to be buried alive.
It's something you think won't ever happen to you.
Yelling and screaming for 20, 25 minutes. I mean, it was just to the point where I was like, do I just give up and just sit here and wait for my girlfriend to come out of the house? Or do I keep screaming? And my voice was so hoarse, I couldn't hardly scream. I couldn't breathe.
Petrifying 30 minutes.
It was horrible. It was,
It's emotional for him to even look at it. To an outsider, it's so deceiving.
I wish somebody could get a camera down there and actually realize how big it was.
So I did. The tape measure this camera is attached to wouldn't reach the bottom. We couldn't even see the bottom.
I won't go out there. I won't step foot off the cement.
Scared to even go in his own backyard, fearing the ground will collapse around it.
The only thing I'm worried about is getting it dug up and getting it filled in before something else happens.
Until he can get this fixed, he's just happy he lived to tell the tale.
It's something I'll never forget about, but I'm thankful to be alive, that's for sure.
In Montfort, Jamie Perez, WISC News 3.
Brandon and his family wanted to give a special thanks to the first responders and neighbors who came to the rescue. He says things could have been much worse had they not saved him when they did. A GoFundMe page has been set up to help the family pay to fix that hole. A link to that can be found on our website, channel3000.com. Still ahead.